The alert chimed 3 times on Alex Chen's personal device, pulling him from beneath the shuttlecraft he'd been modifying. He slid out, wiping grease from his hands onto his already stained uniform. Chief engineer aboard the Stellar Horizon meant his brakes were often interrupted, but he didn't mind. Problem-solving was what he lived for. "Chen here," he answered, recognizing Captain Reeves's priority code. "Report to the bridge immediately," came the captain's terse reply. "We've picked up something unusual." 10 minutes later, freshly changed and still damp from a sonic shower, Alex stood before the main view screen as it displayed a pulsing anomaly against the backdrop of stars. "We received a distress signal 30 minutes ago," Captain Reeves explained, her expression grave. "It doesn't match any registered pattern, but analysis suggests Solarian origin." Alex raised an eyebrow. The Solarians were notoriously reclusive, their technology generations ahead of human understanding. In the 15 years since first contact, fewer than a dozen humans had ever set foot on a Solarian vessel. "Are we sure it's not a trap?" Alex asked. Border disputes with the Solarian Dominion had been increasing lately. Lieutenant Commander Park at Communications shook her head. "The signal pattern shows degradation consistent with genuine system failure, and it's coming from neutral space outside established Solarian territories." Captain Reeves turned to Alex. "That's why I called you. We're sending you to investigate." "Me? Alone?" Alex blinked in surprise. "Your engineering adaptability scores are the highest in the fleet," she said simply. "And after that solution you developed for the Arcturian power relay crisis, Central Command specifically requested you for situations requiring creative approaches." 2 hours later, Alex piloted a small scout vessel toward the coordinates. As the mysterious ship came into visual range, he understood why they'd sent him alone. It looked like nothing in the human database. The vessel's hull seemed to ripple under the scout's spotlight, the metallic surface flowing like mercury in some sections while remaining rigid in others. Organic patterns traced across its surface, pulsing with faint luminescence that reminded Alex of deep-sea creatures from Earth's oceans. "Asterisk Stellar Horizon asterisk, are you seeing this?" he transmitted. "Affirmative," came the captain's voice, tinged with awe. "Approach with extreme caution, Chen." Alex guided his craft toward what appeared to be a docking port, if the spiral-shaped opening could be called that. As he neared, the opening dilated further, almost like a pupil adjusting to light. A soft blue glow emanated from within. "I think I'm being invited in," he murmured, more to himself than the comm. His instruments went haywire as he crossed the threshold, readings fluctuating wildly before stabilizing into patterns he'd never seen before. The docking area sealed behind him, the material flowing like liquid metal to create an airtight seal. The atmosphere registered as breathable, if slightly richer in oxygen than human standard. Alex secured his toolkit and emergency beacon before opening his hatch. The interior defied conventional shipbuilding logic. Corridors curved organically, their surfaces responsive to his presence. Lights activated ahead of him and dimmed behind, creating the impression that the ship itself was guiding him. The walls felt warm to the touch, with a subtle vibration suggesting some form of circulation system. "Hello," Alex called out, his voice absorbed by the living walls rather than echoing as it would on a human vessel. In response, a holographic interface materialized before him, not projected from any visible source, but seeming to condense from the very air. The symbols shifted rapidly, incomprehensible at first, then gradually resolving into something resembling mathematical equations. Alex's translator implant struggled, offering fragmented interpretations. Critical, system failure, royal, preservation, help. A sudden surge of energy rippled through the corridor, and the hologram reformulated into a three-dimensional map. A pulsing red indicator marked a location deep within the vessel. "You want me to go there?" Alex asked, not expecting an answer. The ship responded by illuminating a path along the floor. As Alex followed it, the passage physically reconfigured around him, walls shifting to create the most direct route. The deeper he went, the more the ship's hybrid nature became apparent. Technology and biology so seamlessly integrated that determining where one ended and the other began was impossible. Finally, the path led him to a sealed doorway unlike the others. This one bore intricate patterns that reminded Alex of neural networks, etched in what appeared to be actual precious metals. As he approached, the patterns began to glow, scanning him from head to toe. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a sound like a sigh, the door parted vertically, revealing the chamber within. The chamber beyond the ornate doorway took Alex's breath away. Crystalline structures rose from floor to ceiling, each catching and refracting light in hypnotic patterns. At the center stood a translucent pod, fractured in multiple places. Inside floated a humanoid figure, suspended in a slowly evaporating silver fluid. Alex approached cautiously. The figure was unmistakably Solarian, tall and slender with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer with embedded circuitry. Her features were delicate yet striking, with high cheekbones and a regal profile. A crown of neural interfaces encircled her head, connecting directly to the ship's systems through pulsing filaments that resembled fiber optics, but moved with the fluidity of living tissue. "Hello? Can you hear me?" Alex called out, knowing it was futile. The pod's occupant showed no signs of consciousness. He pulled out his scanner, adjusting it to accommodate Solarian biosignatures based on the limited data available in his device. The readings were alarming. Her life signs fluctuated wildly, neural activity spiking and plummeting in dangerous patterns. The ship's AI manifested again, this time as a sphere of shifting light. Save. Lizar. It managed to communicate, struggling against failing systems. "I'm not a medical specialist," Alex protested. "I need to contact my ship." His communication device remained dead, the ship's structure apparently blocking all signals. The AI pulsed insistently, highlighting a console beside the pod. Alex approached it warily. The interface responded to his proximity, displaying what appeared to be diagnostic information. He recognized certain mathematical principles underlying the display, though the specific applications were unlike anything in human technology. "You want me to repair her?" Alex asked incredulously. "Solarian physiology is classified information. I could kill her trying to help." The ship's response was immediate. The floor beneath him rippled, and a section rose to form a work's surface. Tools emerged from compartments, strange instruments that seemed to combine surgical precision with engineering functionality. Alex studied the instruments, then looked back at the unconscious Stellarian woman. Something about the failing pod's architecture tickled his memory. It resembled theoretical designs he'd studied during his advanced engineering courses, specifically papers on bioresonance technology. "Wait, I might have an idea," he murmured, picking up what appeared to be a sonic manipulation tool. He tested it against the pod's surface, producing a soft harmonic tone. The crystalline material responded, its fractures momentarily stabilizing. Alex nodded to himself and began to hum a specific frequency, E-flat minor, the resonance frequency that human engineers had theorized might interact with certain types of biomechanical systems. To his amazement, the pod's control systems illuminated in response to his humming. The interface reconfigured itself, becoming more comprehensible as it aligned with the mathematical patterns in Alex's impromptu sound therapy. It's responding to harmonic mathematics, he realized aloud. Not conventional engineering at all. For the next 6 hours, Alex worked without rest, creating a makeshift interface between his human tools and the Solarian technology. He cobbled together resonance amplifiers from his toolkit components, using his perfect pitch to find the exact frequencies that would stabilize the most critical systems. That Solarian woman, Lizara, the ship had called her, had suffered damage to both her organic components and technological implants. Alex discovered that her circulatory system incorporated nanite clusters that weren't functioning properly, while her neural crown showed signs of deliberate sabotage rather than accident or malfunction. "Someone tried to kill you," he whispered as he carefully rerouted neural pathways around damaged sections. As if in response to his voice, Lizara's eyelids fluttered momentarily. The ship's system surged, display panels brightening throughout the chamber. Alex felt a momentary connection, as if the ship itself had recognized his intent to help and was offering more access to its systems. Working through the night by the chamber's ambient glow, Alex sang engineering equations as he worked, discovering that the mathematical precision of the formulas created harmonics that Solarian technology responded to. Each correctly applied repair seemed to strengthen not just Lizara's systems, but the ship's as well, revealing the profound connection between the vessel and its mysterious occupant. Alex jerked awake at the sound of a melodic tone. He'd fallen asleep at his workstation after 48 hours of continuous repairs. Disoriented, he blinked several times before realizing the sound came from the stasis pod. The fractured crystal was knitting itself back together, responding to his repairs. The silver fluid inside had cleared, revealing more of the Solarian woman's features. Most startling was her face. Her eyes were now open, regarding him with unmistakable awareness. Those eyes captivated him immediately. Unlike human eyes with their single-coloured irises, hers shifted through prismatic hues that seemed to flow like liquid rainbows, from deep violet to emerald green, then to azure blue as she studied him. "You are human," she said, her voice resonating with harmonic undertones that made the tools on his workstation vibrate slightly. Alex nodded, suddenly self-conscious about his dishevelled appearance. Alex Chen, Chief Engineer of the Asterisk, Stellar Horizon Asterisk. "Your ship sent out a distress signal." She tilted her head, the neural filaments connected to her crown moving fluidly with the motion. "A human repaired me." Disbelief coloured her tone. "Stabilized might be a better word," Alex admitted. "I've never worked with Solarian technology before. I had to improvise." Her expression shifted to one of curiosity. "Show me." Alex retrieved his modified scanner and projected a holographic display of his work. He explained how he'd discovered the harmonic resonance patterns and used mathematical progressions to interface with her systems. "Impossible," she whispered, the colours in her eyes swirling faster. "Our technology is designed to reject non-Solarian interaction. The mathematical precision required." "I have perfect pitch and a background in theoretical physics," Alex shrugged. "Sometimes seeing a problem with fresh eyes helps." A ghost of a smile touched her lips. "I am Lizara." Before Alex could respond, the ship's lighting shifted to a deep crimson. Lizara's expression hardened instantly. "We are being scanned," she announced, attempting to rise from the pod. The moment she disconnected from the neural interfaces, her legs buckled beneath her. Alex caught her reflexively, surprised by how light she felt despite her tall frame. Her skin was warm against his, with a subtle vibration like a tuning fork. "You're still recovering," he cautioned, helping her to a seat that the ship formed from the floor. "There is no time," Lizara insisted. She gestured toward a console, which transformed under her touch. "These are pursuit vessels." Alex studied the display. 3 ships approached on an intercept course, their design similar to but more angular than Lizara's vessel. "Friends of yours?" he asked hopefully. "The opposite," she replied, her voice tight. "They wish to ensure I never return home." As she reached to activate another control panel, the sleeve of her garment slipped back, revealing an intricate mark on her shoulder. A spiraling pattern inlaid with what appeared to be living circuitry. Alex froze, recognizing the symbol from a diplomatic briefing he'd attended years ago. "That's the royal sigil of the Solarian Dominion," he said slowly, the pieces suddenly clicking into place. "The neural crown, the ship's extraordinary technology, the assassination attempt. You're not just any Solarian." Lizara met his gaze directly, the colours in her eyes now a deep royal purple. "I am Queen Lizara Vexnar, sovereign of the Solarian Collective." Her tone carried no arrogance, merely stating fact. Before Alex could process this revelation, the ship shuddered violently. An alarm sounded, pure tones rather than the harsh klaxons of human vessels. "They've locked onto us," Lizara announced grimly, "and I cannot access my defensive systems." The ship's A materialized, its form now fragmented and unstable. It projected a schematic showing multiple breaches along the outer hull. "They're boarding us," Alex realized with growing alarm. Lizara's eyes flared with determination despite her weakened state. "Engineer Alex Chen, it seems your skills will be tested further today. Are you prepared to assist your queen?" "Your Majesty, I'm an engineer, not a security specialist," Alex protested, even as he gathered his tools. Lizara's expression didn't change. "My ship responds to me, but I cannot access the defense grid without full neural integration." She gestured to the damaged crown, which, as you've observed, is compromised. The ship trembled again. On the displays, red indicators showed multiple breach points. "How long until they reach us?" Alex asked. "Minutes at most. My royal guards would have been neutralized first." Alex studied the neural interface crown, then looked at his modified tools. An idea formed, reckless but potentially viable. "Your ship responds to harmonics and mathematical patterns," he said, working rapidly. "If I can't repair your neural link in time, perhaps I can establish a temporary one myself." Lizara's eyes widened, colours shifting to alarmed crimson. "Impossible. The system would reject you." "Not if I use what I've learned about your technology as a foundation," Alex countered, modifying his scanner to emit specific frequencies. "I don't need full access, just enough to trigger defensive countermeasures." Against Lizara's objections, Alex approached the main control interface, a crystalline column pulsing with neural patterns. He placed his hands on its surface and activated his modified device. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Alex gasped as information flooded his consciousness, ship schematics, damage reports, and fragments of Solarian language all competing for his attention. Too much, he managed through gritted teeth. Lizara moved beside him, placing her hand over his. "Focus on one intention. The ship responds to clear purpose." Alex nodded, concentrating on a single thought. Escape. Protect the Queen *. Remarkably, the ship responded. The overwhelming flood of data receded, replaced by navigational options. Alex sensed rather than saw the pursuing vessels, perceiving them as discordant notes in an otherwise harmonious stellar field. "There," he said, directing the ship toward a nearby asteroid field. "They won't expect us to go there." The ship surged forward, its movements smoother now that Alex provided a functional, if limited, neural link. He felt every maneuver as if it were an extension of his own body. The Prevails vessels are designed for logical, predictable pursuit patterns, Lizara explained, supporting herself against a console. They wouldn't consider such a dangerous route. "That's what we're counting on," Alex replied, guiding the ship into the field. What followed was the most intense piloting experience of Alex's life. Each decision came not from calculated trajectories, but from intuitive responses, a harmony between his human instincts and the ship's intelligence. The pursuing vessels followed with precise, predictable maneuvers, while Alex introduced chaotic variables, sharp turns, sudden accelerations, false headings. As they navigated deeper into the asteroid field, Alex felt Lizara's surprise through the neural connection. "Your mind, it creates patterns I've never encountered," she observed. "The ship is responding to your emotional states as well as your thoughts." Human unpredictability. Alex managed a tight smile. Usually considered our greatest weakness. "Perhaps we've misunderstood," she admitted. A proximity alarm sounded. One pursuer had navigated too close. Alex responded instinctively, diving the ship beneath a rotating asteroid. The pursuing vessel attempted to calculate a safe trajectory and hesitated just long enough for a collision with a smaller rock. Its shields flared and held, but it fell behind. The second ship maintained pursuit, firing energy weapons that dissipated against their shields. Alex felt each impact through the neural link, wincing at the strain on the already damaged systems. "Two of their shots hit the same shield sector," he warned. "One more and..." The third shot struck precisely where predicted. Alarms blared as a section of the ship lost pressure. "They're too methodical," Lizara explained. "They analyze patterns and exploit them." Alex grinned suddenly. "Then let's show them something truly unpredictable." Alex's unpredictable maneuver had worked better than anticipated. By deliberately flying toward their pursuers before cutting power at the last second, he'd created the impression of catastrophic system failure. When the Solarian vessels moved in to capture what they believed was a crippled ship, Alex had reactivated the engines and slipped past them, using the larger ship's mass as a shield against the third vessel. Now, 12 hours later, they drifted in a remote sector of space. The ship's self-repair systems worked steadily, but both Alex and Lizara knew they needed a proper facility. "You need to return to your people," Alex said, disconnecting temporarily from the neural interface. His head throbbed from the prolonged connection. Lizara shook her head, the neural crown's filaments swaying gently. "Impossible. The rebels control the approach vectors to the homeworld. My sanctuary is our only option." Sanctuary. She approached a console, her movements still somewhat unsteady. "A research facility I established in secret, beyond the officially acknowledged territories." The navigational display shifted to show a small outpost orbiting an unremarkable dwarf star. What caught Alex's attention were the unusual energy signatures. "You've been studying us," he realized. "That's a human technology pattern." Lizara's eyes shifted to a thoughtful blue. "For centuries, my ancestors dismissed humans as too emotionally volatile for meaningful alliance. I alone suggested that perhaps this unpredictability was worth exploring." "And that made you unpopular," Alex guessed. It made me dangerous, she corrected. That Solarian collective values perfect harmony and predictability. My proposal to form an alliance with humanity threatened that cultural foundation. They arrived at the sanctuary 6 hours later. From the outside, it appeared to be a standard Solarian research outpost. Inside, however, Alex discovered an extraordinary collection of human artifacts and technology, everything from primitive combustion engines to modern neural interfaces. "You've been thorough," he commented, examining a dissected quantum communicator. "Yet still not thorough enough to predict your solution to my failing systems." Lizara replied, settling into a regeneration chamber that immediately began assessing her condition. The facility's medical AA delivered concerning news. "The neural crown requires full replacement. Your connection to the collective consciousness is degrading." Alex saw the flash of fear in Lizara's eyes before she composed herself. "What happens if that connection fails?" he asked. "Chaos," she answered simply. "That Solarian governance structure depends on the royal consciousness to maintain stability across billions of networked minds. Without it, societal breakdowns begin within days." The medical AA projected a holographic schematic of the crown, a marvel of biotechnology far beyond human understanding. "Can it be repaired here?" Alex asked. "No. The materials exist only in the royal forges beneath the palace." Alex studied the projection, recognizing certain mathematical principles underlying its structure. "Then we need a temporary solution to get you there." Lizara's expression showed doubt. "The crown contains technologies considered sacred, untouchable by outsiders." "Well, this outsider already touched it," Alex countered, "and you're still alive because of it." After a moment of consideration, Lizara made an unprecedented decision. "Access granted," she told the facility's A. "Provide Engineer Chen with all specifications of royal biotechnology." The room transformed as information materialized around them. Detailed schematics of Solarian royal physiology and technology, information no human had ever seen. If the council knew of this, Lizara began. "They probably add it to the list of reasons they tried to assassinate you," Alex finished. He was already examining the neural patterns, identifying potential integration points. "I think I can create a miniaturized version using components from my equipment and materials here." "It would be temporary." Alex nodded. "A bridge solution. Enough to maintain your connection to the collective until we can reach your palace and implement a proper replacement." Lizara's eyes cycled through colors before settling on a determined gold. "Then we proceed." The sanctuary's alarms triggered in the middle of Alex's work. He had spent 18 hours crafting the temporary neural interface, combining Solarian biotechnology with components from his engineering toolkit. The delicate filaments connecting to the miniaturized crown were half complete when security protocols initiated lockdown procedures. "They found us," Lizara announced, entering the laboratory. She had regained much of her strength, though her movements still lacked their natural grace. "We have minutes at most." Alex surveyed his unfinished work. "I need at least another hour." "We don't have it." Lizara activated a hidden panel, revealing a small hangar. Inside stood a sleek vessel unlike the royal ship they had arrived in. "This is an experimental craft designed for my personal use." The vessel's design incorporated elements Alex recognized from human stealth technology, modified and enhanced with Stellarian principles. "You've been preparing for this possibility," Alex realized. "A queen must anticipate betrayal," Lizara replied without emotion. "Gather what you need. We must reach Solaria before my neural connection deteriorates completely." Within minutes, They had transferred Alex's work and essential equipment to the stealth craft. As they prepared for departure, Lizara hesitated. The odds of successfully penetrating Solarian defenses are approximately 12.83%, she stated. I cannot ask you to take this risk. You're not asking, Alex replied, securing the last component. I started this repair job, and I intend to finish it. The Sanctuary's outer defenses engaged as they launched, buying precious seconds against the approaching Rebel vessels. Once clear, Lizara activated the stealth systems, while Alex resumed his work on the neural crown in the craft's small medical bay. Tell me about Solaria, Alex requested as he manipulated microscopic neural relays. What should I expect? Lizara's eyes shifted to a nostalgic azure. We have monitored Earth for centuries, she revealed. Most Solarians concluded that humans were too unpredictable, too emotional for meaningful alliance. What did you conclude? Alex asked, not looking up from his work. That perhaps we had become too predictable. A rare smile touched her lips. Our perfect harmony created perfect stagnation. As they approached Solarian space, Alex completed the temporary crown. It wasn't beautiful. Human components married to Solarian biotechnology created an awkward hybrid, but his scans indicated functionality. It's ready, he announced. Lizara eyed the device with apprehension. If it fails. It won't, Alex assured her, though he knew the risks were substantial. The procedure to transfer her neural connection was delicate. Alex worked with surgical precision, disconnecting the damaged royal crown and integrating his creation. When the final connection was made, Lizara gasped, her eyes flaring with intensity. The ship's systems responded immediately, displays illuminating with information. It works, she whispered, wonder in her voice. I can sense the collective, though distantly. Their moment of triumph was short-lived. The stealth craft's sensors detected the planetary defense grid ahead, a complex network of satellites and automated platforms surrounding Solaria. Standard approach is impossible, Lizara stated, studying the patterns. The grid is designed to identify and eliminate any vessel not following precise authorized vectors. Alex studied the defense grid's organization. They're looking for Solarian flight patterns, he observed. What if we don't fly like Solarians? Explain. Your people value perfect precision. Everything I've seen shows mathematical perfection in your approach. Alex took the controls. But humans, we approximate. We improvise. Without waiting for permission, Alex initiated a series of maneuvers no Solarian would attempt, accelerating directly toward a defense platform before executing a tight roll that brought them within meters of its blind spot. The defense grid, programmed to anticipate logical approach vectors, failed to track their erratic course. Remarkable, Lizara commented as they slipped past the first layer of defenses. The system cannot predict what it cannot understand. They were halfway through when proximity alarms sounded. 3 Royal Guard vessels had detected their unusual movement pattern and moved to intercept. They're hailing us, Lizara said, surprise evident in her tone. Friends of yours? Alex asked hopefully. Perhaps, or a trap. She studied the approaching vessels. We're about to find out. Identify yourselves, came the formal request from the lead vessel, transmitted in the musical tones of High Solarian. Lizara hesitated, her eyes cycling through colours of calculation. If they're loyal, revealing myself could save us. If not. Can you tell from their communication patterns? Alex asked. She tilted her head, the temporary crown glinting under the ship's lights. There's something, familiar about the harmonic undertones. Decision made, she activated the communication array. This is Queen Lizara Vexnara. Verification code sequence Sigma Harmonic Pre 7. Silence followed. Then, Your Majesty, we believed you lost. The commander's voice carried genuine relief. The palace is under rebel control. We've maintained orbital patrol hoping for your return. Commander Tens, Lizara identified him. The situation. Critical, Your Majesty. Without your Neuralink, the collective is fragmenting. Civil unrest has begun in the outer territories. We must reach the ancient temple, Lizara stated, not the palace. Alex noted the commander's momentary hesitation before his reply. The rebels monitor all known royal facilities. A direct approach would be detected. Then we create a diversion, Lizara decided. Commander, take your vessels and simulate my royal signature approaching the main palace. We'll use the chaos to reach the temple. The plan worked initially. As the Royal Guard vessels created a convincing decoy approach, Alex piloted their craft toward a mountainous region on the night side of Celaria. The temple, a massive structure built into the mountain itself, appeared dormant and unguarded. Too easy, Alex commented as they landed on a concealed platform. The temple predates modern Celarian society, Lizara explained. Few know of its significance. It houses an emergency restoration system connected directly to the planetary core, a backup should the palace facilities fail. They entered through crystalline doors that recognized Lizara's royal signature. The ancient halls illuminated as they passed, responsive even after centuries of disuse. At the center stood a chamber similar to the one where Alex had first found Lizara, though vastly larger and more complex. The restoration matrix, Lizara identified it with reverence. Alex scanned the system with his modified tools. Something's wrong. The harmonic patterns are distorted. Lizara's expression darkened. Sabotage. They anticipated I might come here. Before they could respond, a squad of armed Stellarians emerged from concealed positions. Their leader stepped forward, his neural implants bearing military insignia. General Vex, Lizara identified him coldly. "My queen," he replied with mock deference. "How fortunate you've returned to us, with a human, no less. Perfect evidence of your unfitness to rule." "The restoration matrix," Alex whispered to Lizara. "I can see the corruption pattern. It's a harmonic disruption in the primary sequence." "Can you correct it?" she asked quietly. "Yes, but I'd need direct access to the control node." The general continued his monologue about Celarian purity while loyal guards engaged the rebels at the temple's entrance, creating distant sounds of conflict. "A distraction," Alex suggested. Lizara stepped forward. "General, your rebellion is futile. The collective requires the royal consciousness." "The collective requires proper guidance," the general countered. "Not contamination from lesser species." As they argued, Alex edged toward the control systems, reaching out with his scanner. The matrix's harmonic patterns became visible to him, beautiful mathematical sequences now marred by discordant intrusions. He identified the solution, a purge sequence channeled through the temple's core systems. But the implementation required channeling massive energy directly through the control node, energy that would destroy whoever initiated the sequence. Catching Lizara's eye, he discreetly transmitted his findings to her temporary crown. Her eyes widened almost imperceptibly as she understood the implications. There must be another way. She communicated without speaking, their neural connection allowing silent exchange. "There isn't time." Alex replied the same way. "Your people need you." As rebel forces breached the inner sanctum, Alex made his choice. "Wait." Lizara's voice cut through the chamber, halting Alex mere steps from the control node. "There is another way." All eyes turned to the Queen as she stepped forward, her temporary crown glowing with increasing intensity. "The Matrix requires a complete neural pattern to purge corruption," she explained. "It need not be a single consciousness." Alex understood immediately. "A shared connection, like when I piloted your ship." General Vex laughed dismissively. "Impossible. The royal neural pattern cannot be diluted with lesser." Silence. Lizara commanded with such authority that even the rebels hesitated. "Your understanding of our most sacred technology is limited by tradition, not fact." She moved to Alex's side, the loyal guards creating a defensive perimeter that wouldn't hold for long. "This will be unlike before," she warned him. "A complete neural merger. Our consciousness temporarily unified." "The risks?" Alex asked. "Unknown. This has never been attempted." Her eyes shifted through colors of concern. "Our patterns could become permanently entangled." A rebel blast struck nearby, showering them with crystalline fragments. Time was running out. "Do it," Alex decided. Together they approached the control node. Lizara removed the temporary crown and placed it on the altar-like structure. With practiced movements, she extracted filaments from the ancient machine and connected them to both her neural implants and to interface points at Alex's temples. "Open your mind completely," she instructed. "Accept what comes without resistance." Alex had barely nodded when the connection formed. His consciousness expanded exponentially, centuries of Solarian knowledge flooding his awareness. Simultaneously, Lizara experienced human emotion with unprecedented intensity, joy, fear, hope, and courage washing through her ordered mind like a tidal wave. Through their merged perception, they saw the corrupted code as discordant notes in an otherwise perfect symphony. Working as one mind with two distinct approaches, they crafted a purge sequence, Solarian precision guided by human intuition. When they activated the sequence, the temple resonated with harmonics that grew steadily in complexity. The rebels covered their ears as the sound became physically painful to those not connected to the Matrix. Light erupted from the control node, engulfing Alex and Lizara in a prismatic aura. The general tried to interrupt the process with a desperate shot that never reached its target. The energy field deflected it back, sending him sprawling. The light intensified until observers had to shield their eyes. When it finally subsided, Alex and Lizara remained standing before the now-functioning restoration matrix, hands still joined. "Your Majesty," one of the loyal guards ventured. Alex spoke first, his voice carrying harmonic undertones. "The corruption has been purged." Then Lizara spoke the exact same words simultaneously. Their eyes had changed. Both now displayed the prismatic quality previously unique to Solarian royalty, though Alex's retained human structure. When they moved, they did so with perfect synchronization before gradually separating into individual motions. "What happened to them?" a rebel soldier asked, weapons lowered in confusion. "Something unprecedented," replied a senior royal guard who had entered during the process. "And magnificent." In the days that followed, rebel resistance collapsed as word spread of the transformation. Alex Lizara, as they became known, demonstrated abilities neither species had possessed alone. Their shared consciousness maintained the necessary connection to that Solarian collective, while introducing human adaptability to the rigid structure. At the formal reinstatement ceremony, Representatives from human colonies were invited to witness something extraordinary: the signing of the first true Human-Talarian Alliance treaty. The human engineer who didn't recognize a queen has become part of one, the Zara's voice stated. And the queen who once saw humans as unpredictable now values that very quality, Alex's voice continued. Together, they concluded, our civilizations need not remain separate. Like us, they can become something greater together than either could achieve alone. As the treaty was formalized, scientists and engineers from both species already began exchanging ideas, inspired by the living example before them of what true cooperation could achieve.